We have a surprising Mavs trade update that doesn't make too much sense, but it does address a key need that the Dallas Mavericks have made very, very clear, and that is a starting point guard. And on this channel, we've gone over every little rumor, any player that's been linked to the Dallas Mavericks, such as Jrue Holiday, Lonzo Ball, and Chris Paul. And on those players, we've talked about reasons they may or may not work out with the Dallas Mavericks, but we did find out the other day about another player that the team's looking at. And that player is Anfernee Simons of the Portland Trail Blazers. And in this video, we're going to take a look at that report about the Mavericks and who they're really looking at, how well did Anfernee Simons play last year, and what could he do for the Dallas Mavericks, as well as what would that trade even look like. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before you start with today's video, we're currently sitting at 21,025 subscribers. I know y'all probably tired of hearing me say it, but make sure you subscribe. I'm bringing you content all summer long on your favorite team, and I know you don't want to miss out, so go ahead and hit that sub button. But the Dallas Mavericks are in pursuit of a point guard. It's been reported heavily all offseason, all the last second half of the season, ever since Kyrie Irving went down. We knew that this offseason we would need to find another point guard. The Dallas Mavericks are very, very heavy in the front court. We have Anthony Davis, we have PJ Washington, we have Derrick Lively, Daniel Gafford. We have O-Max as well. He is recovering from his own injury, and we're about to draft Cooper Flagg, as well as Najee Marshall, who he can play the 1 through 3, but we have a lot of forwards and we don't have enough guards, which is a new problem for the Dallas Mavericks. It always seems like we have at least 3 to 4 guards, but with the injuries and with different trades that we made, we have a new need, and that's a point guard. And like I said, it was heavily reported by everybody that the Dallas Mavericks are expected to pursue a starting caliber point guard this offseason while Kyrie Irving recovers from a torn ACL per Shams. Irving is projected to return to the Mavs starting lineup around January or February of 2026, meaning Dallas will need a reliable floor general to hold things down. Who should the Mavs target to keep this ship steady until Kyrie returns? And like I said, we talked about many players that have already been name dropped that could be tied to the Dallas Mavericks. We talked about Jrue Holiday, how he does have championship pedigree, but he's a little bit too expensive. We talked about Lonzo Ball and how he brings great defense and playmaking, but he can't seem to stay healthy. And then there's Chris Paul, who played all 82 games last year, but he is 40 years old, even though he did play every single game. It'd be a darn shame if he finally decides to get hurt and break down from being 40 when he signs with the Dallas Mavericks. And although there's nothing set in stone, it's just rumors, it's just small reportings of who we're interested in, nothing seems to have been manifesting or at least just materializing further than just who we're interested in. But we did get a report the other day about another player that we are interested in. The report came out saying that the NBA teams, including the Orlando Magic, Utah Jazz, and Dallas Mavericks, are part of teams around the league that have started calling the Portland Trail Blazers and seeing the potential availability of guard Anfernee Simons. Multiple sources told me, and that was Rob Murrows. It's legit. The Dallas Mavericks are interested in Anfernee Simons, who in his own right is not a bad player. In many regards, his production is similar to Kyrie. Now, obviously, there's things that Kyrie Irving does a lot better, but there are some things that Anfernee Simons and Kyrie do very similar as far as the amount of assists, the scoring, and the shooting. A little bit iffy. Kyrie is a little bit better, and obviously, Anfernee Simons plays a completely different way because of the way that his team is set up. But if we were to go and make a trade for Anfernee Simons and we ask him to be our starting point guard for the majority of the season, he could still be a decent second guard next to Kyrie Irving, where maybe you're our starting shooting guard over Klay. Or maybe you just back up Kyrie and maybe we put you in the game alongside him. If this trade were to go through, it wouldn't be the worst thing. Not saying he's the best candidate, but he does have some strengths that the Dallas Mavericks could definitely use until Kyrie Irving returns. If we take a look at his stats from last season, Anfernee Simons averaged 19.3 points, 2.7 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 0.1 block, 0.9 steals, 2 turnovers, and 1.7 fouls per game, while shooting 42% from the floor and 36% from 3. He's 6'3", a little bit of a shorter guard, about maybe, honestly, he's only like an inch taller than Kyrie, so he's not super short, and an inch taller than Kyrie Irving. But as far as his averages go, he scores a little bit less than Kyrie, which makes sense. Anfernee Simons is not the number one option in Portland. His assists are about the same, a little bit higher than Kyrie's. His rebounding is a lot lower than Kyrie's. Kyrie Irving averaged about 4 rebounds a game. Anfernee Simons only 2.7. But the production from what we need as far as playmaking, a floor general, and scoring when you need to score is exactly what we need. And I do believe that's what we can get out of Anfernee Simons. The only downside is we'd have to trade for him. He's making about $27 million a year, and we've already talked about in previous videos that the Dallas Mavericks in no way, shape, or form are thinking about trading PJ Washington or Daniel Gafford. Anybody else would most likely have to be involved, but $27 million, which is this final year of his contract, after this season he will be an unrestricted free agent. It does make things a little bit interesting for the Dallas Mavericks. Do you trade for a player that could just walk the next year, or do you try to find someone on a better contract if you don't think you can get Anfernee Simons to buy in and get an extension with the team? But if we take a look right here, like I said, Kyrie Irving, Anfernee Simons, they do a lot of things similar, but they do a lot of things different. And if you need to pause and take a look at this, Kyrie Irving, mainly a little bit of ISO, a little bit of a pick and roll ball handler, at least on the offensive end. But Anfernee Simons is primarily a pick and roll ball handler. And that is something that we haven't really seen a lot of success from since we had Luka Doncic, and Kyrie Irving does a good job. Even Klay Thompson can, do the pick and roll. We also have Brandon Williams, who does very well in the pick and roll. But having another guard, especially if we're going to get a guard in the offseason, your starting point guard should be an amazing pick and roll ball handler. And that's what you get with Anfernee Simons. Whether he can set up a pick and roll with the bigs, or he just attacks the basket anyway off of a pick, and there you go. It's not a bad idea. I see why the Dallas Mavericks will be looking at a player like Anfernee Simons. He can get his own bucket. He can create for others. The defense is probably the only glaring issue I see. Last season, in the middle of the season, Anfernee Simons was at dead last, the bottom of the league in defensive box plus minus. That is absolutely horrible. And obviously the Portland Trail Blazers, they're a lottery team, so they don't really have the most beautiful stats in any category, obviously. But if we still are going to live and die by the fact that defense wins championships, then I can see why Anfernee Simons wouldn't be the best candidate. I truly do believe that Chris Paul is the guy for us. He played 82 games last year. He averaged about 7 to 8 assists, which is amazing. You don't really need too much scoring from him as we have many other scoring options. And although I do like the fact that Anfernee Simons is averaging about 19 points a game, we may not need that much if we have Cooper Flagg, if we have Anthony Davis, and then eventually we have Kyrie Irving. So it's good to know that you can get 19 a night. We may not need that, especially when Kyrie Irving comes back. But if you can still get 19 a night and not take away from anybody else, then that's definitely a plus. But another thing that we have to take a look at is the contract. It's a very obscure contract. I mean, he definitely earned the money, rightfully so. Go ahead and get your bag. But he is on the last year of a 4-year, $100 million contract that he signed at age 23. Obviously, around that time, the Portland Trail Blazers, they traded away CJ McCollum. Anfernee Simons was supposed to step up in that role, but anyway, he's about to make $27 million, and like I said before, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, which could make retaining him kind of hard if we were to go this route. But if we were to get Anfernee Simons this offseason, it would have to be a trade. I said it before, the Dallas Mavericks are not trading PJ Washington or Daniel Gafford. So who it is that we have to give up, and that may look something like this. If we want just Anfernee Simons, and you can throw in whatever picks you may want, then you would probably have to trade Klay Thompson and Caleb Martin. The problem with the Dallas Mavericks is that we don't have any bad contracts, and that's good for us. That's good when it comes to the team and who we can keep, that we do have a lot of players on team-friendly contracts, but that also makes it hard to make trades like this, where Anfernee Simons, in my opinion, isn't going to be worth both Caleb Martin and Klay Thompson, especially when he's just going to be put in a backup role the moment Kyrie Irving returns. Any trade that we would have to make with Anfernee Simons, in my opinion, especially in the long term, would be a negative. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think that this is the best option that we have? Do you like him over the others that we've looked at? Or do you think that the contract is a little bit too much, that the trade would have to be convoluted, and there's better options out there? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We'd have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for being part of the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. And as always, y'all take care. Drink water. Peace.